All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. All right, Minnesota is back in the win column. They avoided a 3-game losing streak. Granted, they played Dallas and Phoenix, and those are really good basketball teams. Come back home tonight, take down the Dallas Mavericks in a really impressive fashion, 116-95. Karl-Anthony Towns was Mr. Efficient tonight. Defense definitely came through, and I have a couple of things I want to talk about this Minnesota Timberwolves squad. So welcome back to the channel, man. Hit that like button. Let's try and hit 116 likes on today's video. Post a bunch of Timberwolves videos throughout the week, sometimes every day. If you guys enjoy that, hit that subscribe button. We're like 30 subs away from 10.3K, so I appreciate all the love. 116-95 at home. So basically, Minnesota lost to Dallas however many nights ago by 2 points, 2 literal points. And if we're being honest here, I think the ending to that basketball game was a little ridiculous, but anyways, a loss is a loss. Tonight was at home for Minnesota, and something, whenever I make a Timberwolves video, this is something that I try to emphasize as much as I humanly can. Every single game at the Target Center feels like a playoff game. It's got this, there's just this vibe in the air where it's like all these fans are ecstatic to watch their team play. The team's ecstatic to play and get another win. Like, just the vibes are amazing. And there is playoff intensity in the air every home game. It's so cool. I'm very, very excited for Minnesota. Very excited. I mean, even the city of Minneapolis is like a top 3 city of all time, in my opinion. And I live here in Chicago. Probably number 1. I'd probably throw, honestly, Minneapolis at like number 2. Anyways, this team is really talented. They are number 6 right now in offense. So on any given night, they're going to run it. Like, they're going to just run up and down the court. They're going to be efficient. They're going to shoot threes. They're number 1 in three-pointers attempted. They're also number 1 in three-pointers made. They're number 1 in offense in the entire season in just total points scored. So this team's going to score. I think their average is like 115, 116, pretty much what they put up tonight. That's a really crazy average, might I add, but it's being led by a guy named Karl-Anthony Towns. And this guy is so damn good. And then you have D'Angelo Russell being the main point guard. Then you have Anthony Edwards, who can give you 20 on most nights. Then you have Jared Vanderbilt, who just got back from injury. That is an absolutely huge move. He came back tonight, he played tonight, put up 4 or 5. So they're really happy to have him back. And then you have a guy named Patrick Beverley, who almost everybody in the NBA knows of. And he gives Minnesota that leg up. And so it's games like tonight where you're in Minnesota and you have a guy like Patrick Beverley just kind of being that energizer bunny for your squad. Don't think that these games don't mean much. I don't think any Timberwolves fans thinking that. Like, these are great wins to accumulate before the playoffs. This puts them a half game behind Denver. And the good news is, the bad news is Minnesota has a tough little schedule here in their next 2 games. They got Boston, who's probably the hottest team in the NBA. And then they have Toronto, who I know Minnesota's not in the top 3 of their conference, but against top 3 teams in your conference, Toronto has the best record in the entire NBA at 10-5. So they show up repeatedly for big time games. They also just got OG back. So Minnesota, like, honestly, a 2-0 would be unbelievable. But a 1-1 split would be just fine. I don't want to see the Timberwolves lose both of those games. The reason I mention that is because game after that, you play Denver. That's a huge basketball game. That is a huge basketball game. Now, personally, here are my opinions on the play-in tournament. Basically, the 7th seed plays the 8th seed, and the winner of that game advances. They're the 7th seed. They'll play the 2 seed in a 7-game series, and they're going to advance. The loser plays the winner of the 9 versus 10, and they match off, and the winner of that becomes the 8th seed. So I think Minnesota's realistic possibility, especially because they're the number 7 seed, so keep in mind, they'd be at home for both of these basketball games. They have a 25-13 record at home. I was just talking about Target, like, their fans will show up for that. Their players will show up for that. So I'm just not worried one bit about Minnesota missing out on the playoffs, even if they were to fall or stay in the play-in tournament right now. Whoever they play should be terrified. I understand Memphis is a really good basketball team. I actually made a video about Memphis earlier today because they're a top offense and they're a top defense. If I'm Memphis, I would feel so bad to play Minnesota. Thing is, if I'm Golden State, the 3 seed, and let's say Minnesota sneaks into that 6 spot, I would hate to play them as well. I really would hate to play them. So whoever Minnesota faces off, regardless of how they get into the playoffs, I think all of us would prefer they get that 6 seed and you don't have to go through the stressors of the play-in tournament. But my point is this. No matter what, I think Minnesota, and I'm not trying to jinx, let's knock out some wood here. I don't think Minnesota's missing the playoffs. And it's games like this tonight where it's just, it might not seem like too much, a 21-point victory. Dallas is one of the best teams in the NBA. I know that might sound a little crazy. I thought it was a little crazy until I started watching them. They fit so much better without Kristaps Porzingis. But, Dallas is just a really talented team. And obviously they have your guy, Luka Doncic, who is one of the best to do it. 24, 10, and 8. I would consider that neutralized tonight. Now, they didn't have Spencer Dinwiddie start, but he still came off of the bench and he still gave you 27. There wasn't a single injury on Dallas's roster that would be like, all right, well, maybe that's why they won. Like, for example, let's say Minnesota was missing Cat tonight. There was none of that. There was absolutely none of that. And so you saw Karl-Anthony Towns go 7 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from downtown, which means he missed 1 field goal attempt outside of the 3 ball. 20 points, 9 rebounds, plus 16. That's not a crazy stat line. It's an efficient stat line. And they just kind of controlled this basketball game. They got off to a nice little lead in the first quarter. They got off to an even better lead after the second quarter when the offense really started to kind of feel themselves, scored 36 in the second, 35 in the second, sorry. And then the third quarter, the defense just is clampy. I mean, the defense was solid leading up to it. I think Dallas had 50 points at halftime, but yeah, Dallas had 50 exactly at halftime. But heading into the third quarter, not only did Minnesota continue to keep it going, keep their foot on the gas pedal, score 28 points in the third quarter, they also limited Dallas, one of the best offenses in the NBA, to only 17 points. And like I said, you have Jalen Brunson, you have Luka Doncic, you have Dwight Powell, you have DFS, you have Spencer Dinwiddie, you have all of your pieces. And this is another reason why I'm not afraid of Dallas whatsoever in the playoffs. I understand they're a really good basketball team, but even if they had KP still, I wouldn't be afraid of them just because I think they need another legitimate star. But we're not talking about Dallas in today's video. This isn't a Mavericks video. So, Minnesota right now, I would say, I don't know where exactly they'll finish. They have the ability and they have the talent to go as far as humanly possible. I would say the first round upset wouldn't be crazy one bit. Outside of Boston, I would say literally Minnesota is probably the second hottest team since the All-Star break. I don't think that's a ridiculous statement whatsoever. So, with that amazing offense, really efficient offense as well, and then the defense, they're number 11 in the NBA. So if you can just maybe improve a little bit defensively, get into that top 10, no one's going to want to play you, man. So that's it for today. Once again, if we could try and hit 116 likes on today's video, that would be awesome. As always, hit that subscribe button for daily NBA content, and I post Timberwolves videos all the time. So drop a comment down below. Where do you see the Minnesota Timberwolves finishing off this season in the playoffs? Peace.